Hey there guys, Diana Seitz here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really excited about this video because this is the second video in my brand new series called the Kreutzer Kram. And it is basically cramming as many Kreutzer etudes as I can into my practice and then sharing with you performances of those etudes and also the short commentaries on how cramming those etudes in my practice affected my playing. Also, what are the most effective ways to incorporate those etudes into your practice. And I will also be going over what I feel the most important technical challenge is in every etude. But before I go on, I'd like to give a big shout out to Maria Chatzatlan and Dr. Dalia Guerra for inviting me to play with you guys Poruna Cabeza last week during the Festiva. It was so much fun, and I actually included a little snippet of our dress rehearsal at the end of this video. And another shout out to Victoria Nava and the brand new orchestra program in the Idea Academy of Edinburgh. I'm so excited that this is actually happening, and now Idea Academy has an orchestra program, at least in one of its schools. But also, I wanted to thank you guys for coming to our junior senior day at UTRGV. We had so much fun. This clinic was just enormous fun because you guys were such a wonderful audience. So I'm looking forward to seeing Victoria and your orchestra program in the future when they come out and do some more clinics in your school. And now for the commentary. I decided to name this etude the Sloth, because I felt like when I was playing it. I actually went down in my practice to 30 beats per minute, but I wanted to have mercy on you guys because even at 45 beats per minute, it took almost 10 minutes to play through it. So I knew no one was gonna persevere 15 minutes to hear me play that even slower. So the sloth it is. And actually today I have this little tiny sloth to help me explain some of the main challenges that I had to deal and you will have to deal if you decide to work on this etude. So of course, number one challenge here is bow control. So what does the sloth has to do with bow control issues? Well, actually a lot. Because if you think of a sloth and if you watch the sloth move, you'll realize that they're dealing with two major forces that actually enable us to make a sound on the violin. Number one, they have to be moving, even though they move slowly, but they have to be moving to get the food and so forth. And in that sense, they have to also know the direction in which they're moving. Seriously, if I were walking that slowly, after 2 minutes, I'd probably forget where I was going. So this is pretty admirable, that their ability to move very smoothly from place to place and in the same direction without forgetting where they're going. And as we all know, if you don't move the bow along the string, you will not get any sound. So movement of the bow and the direction of the bow for us is also a very important factor. And that's one of the two factors that actually allow us to make sound on the violin. Number two factor that sloths have to be always very, very aware of is the weight. Because if you think of a sloth, a grown-up, not this one of course, but the real adult sloth, they look like they're pretty hefty creatures. So I always wonder how amazing it is that they intuitively are always aware of their own weight and of the fact what branch to choose to hang from that will actually support all of the weight without them falling off. Like that poor guy. Ooh. So here's the very simple truth about bow control. It's all about managing those two factors that allow us to make the sound on the violin. The movement of the bow speed, and the weight that is pulled into the string by gravity. So when you're trying to improve your bow control or manage your sound, what you're doing, you're managing the ratio between the weight and the bow speed. And that is what affects your sound the most. So this is the most important thing that you can learn from Kreutzer etude number one, is how to manipulate the ratio between the weight and that is going into a string and the bow speed at which you're moving. And once you figure out how to do that in every particular part of your bow and every particular part of your etude, you have completed the challenge of this etude. And now, as promised earlier, I will share from my notes about how cramming Kreutzer number 1 into my daily practice affected my playing. Number 1, I've noticed a huge increase in the resonance of my instrument. It's amazing because, as you remember, it starts with the A on D string in the 3rd position, and I was getting ready for a concert where I was supposed to play Paganini Cantabile, and I just noticed Paganini Cantabile starts with the same note, and I could not believe the kind of resonance all of a sudden that came out of my instrument, out of that same note, and then on for the whole piece. It was amazing. So I definitely noticed a huge difference in the way my instrument actually responds to me. That was amazing. Number 2, I definitely noticed that my shifts became smoother. If you watched the first video and you watched at least some of my performance of that Kreutzer 1, you've noticed that I deliberately slowed down the shifts, and I did it on purpose because we never get to do that in music, you know. So this was a great exercise to purposefully slow down my shift. Again, thank my sloth for it. So I literally tried to slow down my shifts so I can make sure that I am as smooth as possible in this process of releasing the pressure right before I start moving toward the new note. And that really very positively affected my performance in everything else. And the 3rd one, it gave me a chance to work on my vibrato and fine-tune my vibrato in many different ways. One of them, just think more of what kind of vibrato speed fits the certain speed of my bow. And also, I kind of took a fun challenge of trying to imitate singers. Very often a singer would start a sound without any vibrato and then add vibrato later in the really dramatic parts of singing and when they want to have a more dramatic crescendo. And so I kind of used that technique, and it was really fun. It was challenging because I had to work on very smooth transition from going non-vibrato to starting to vibrate on the same bow while moving that bow very slowly. So any change in the angles, any awkward move would reflect in the bow. So that was fun. That really gave me much more control over my vibrato in every way. And then of course I had to figure out how fast or how slow my vibrato should be according to the bow speed. And I definitely got a better sense of how the vibrato speed depends on my bow speed and how actually it can help you to make the crescendos more dramatic. And finally, what are the best ways you could effectively incorporate the Kreutzer number 1 in your practice? First of all, please, please, please don't think of this particular etude as a material for warm-up. It really is very, very heavy work for your muscles in the bow arm. Think of it as riding a bike and trying to ride a bike as slowly as possible. I think you all can imagine how hard it is on your body. The slower you go on the bike, the harder your muscles have to work to keep the balance. And that's what happens with slow bowing. So it's more like a heavy workout where you have to warm up on something else and then go and lift those heavy weights. It's something equivalent to that. So please try not to use it as a warm-up. If you absolutely have to use it as a warm-up, then go much faster than it intended. Number 2, divide and conquer. So for example, think of what are the bow arm challenges and what are the left hand challenges, because there are challenges on both sides. And to work on your left hand challenges, such as of course the accuracy and smoothness of your shifts, the accuracy of your intonation and so forth, I would go at much faster speed so that I don't have to worry, that I'm very comfortable in the bow. Just find the speed at which you're comfortable in the bow. You're not working very hard by slowing it down, but not too fast for your left hand. So you can isolate those specific parts with shifts, with little passages, 16th note passages and so forth, and work on those at a very comfortable average tempo. And then The other part of practice, when you're trying to actually work on your bow control and improve that and really try to slow down your bow as much as you can, I would first actually do it with the open strings. So for example, the very beginning measures could be played at the speed that you would like to be bowing. Maybe you bring it down to, I don't know, whatever you feel is slower than you're comfortable for you. Suppose it's 60 beats per minute. And then you play on the D string and you count out all the beats that are supposed to be on the down bow. And then you change the direction of the bow and according to the beats. And basically you execute everything but without pressing the notes in the left hand, just with the bow. That kind of exercise is much less strenuous on your bow arm, and you will be able to concentrate much better on your bow movements and your bow control and improve it much faster. Once you feel comfortable with both sides, you can start bringing them together. Again, you will probably have to do it at an average tempo first and then slowly, notch by notch, going down to the speed that you'd like to be at. And then finally, number 3. Shift like a sloth would. Yes. This is a great etude for shifts, to master your shifts, and especially to get your shifts to be very, very smooth. Because the smoother your shifts are, the more likely you will nail the note at which you are going. So this is it for this week's commentary on the sloth, Kreutzer Etude number 1. I had so much fun cramming it into my practice routine and especially reaping the benefits of it, and of course sharing the results with you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it, leave your comments. I would love to answer your questions, and I always do. I always read your comments and I answer the questions as soon as I can. I hope if you're not subscribed to my channel that you will after watching this video, and if you do, please don't forget to hit a little bell. This way, when my new video comes out, you'll be notified. Until then, have a wonderful week and happy cramming.